I hope. Please. Oh god. That's not good. Alright. Hopefully we're back. I really do hope that we're back, because if we're not, this isn't going to be too good. Oh god. Okay, so like I was saying, the CMC has a storm moving into Lesser Antilles, but then afterward it begins moving north of that, and then it begins moving north of Puerto Rico. Does bring swells because it's close by, and if we were to extrapolate the model like I was trying to say earlier, trying to bring the model out, if we just take it out to a longer range, it does bring it west, but it curves it out. So that will be a good scenario in that case. But the bigger problem is that it brings it closer to the Antilles. So that's going to bring impacts there. Impacts there directly almost before it begins turning north. So you'll have land impacts from what this will be. This were named, this would be Lee. You'll have impacts from this would be Lee coming into the Lesser Antilles within about 5 to 6 days if this were to verify exactly like this from the CMC model, and you'll probably get strong winds. The hurricane force winds might not be on shore because it might be in the northeast part of the quadrant, because the storm is going to be patching from the southwest side. No, southwest side of the storm will be over you in that case, but the northeast side will be offshore. So we'll have to watch that closely and see what happens. I mean, we could check the ridge pattern on this. Let's get my phone back open, because I gotta check chat for any questions. Can't have this keep happening. It's unfortunate. Welcome back. I'm hoping it's not crashing, dude. Alright, so on this scenario, the ridge is north of the storm. On the Canadian model, it does bring it west. So that ridge is directly over top of it. But this weakness off the U.S. East Coast due to this ridge that's over the southwest United States erodes into the ridge somewhat. Not like directly, like very thick, like a big jab into the ridge, but it weakens it enough so that strong part of the ridge is gone and allows it to get scooped up in the later part of the run as it gets closer to the Bahamas. It allows it to get scooped up in that scenario. If you check the Euro model, I think a similar thing is also present. The ridge is there, yes, but the trough digs into it on the western side and gets rid of the deep layer ridging. Well, I hope it does. This is too far out, but as it's recurving, the trough is there, so if the storm gets farther west, it would get scooped up in that scenario. It's showing like the rest of the model run, even though this is probably too far out. Yeah, because even on the Euro, it begins stalling here once you get another trough that begins coming down. Check the GFS as well. Yeah, we're back. I'm hoping OBS does not crash, man. I'm hoping. A lot of stuff is not going right today. Where do we start? Oh, this is the new 18Z model. I have to go to the 12Z because 18Z isn't fully out yet. Gotta wait for that to load. But yeah, storm forms on the GFS. There's some ridging north of it, into the east of it. So it moves through the islands, but the trough is still there. Well, under this scenario, that would be very close. That would be an issue. But it moves north of the islands due to this trough. So that's good. From there, it does seem to recurve at the end model, like when it's too far out. But it really depends how deep the trough is. Because if the trough isn't very deep, it's not going to be swinging north very quickly. Because if you're trying to get like one of these storms to get out, you need like something like this. But the storm needs to be closer to this trough that you get picked up and scooped out. Because later on in the model, it mutes to something like this, which could still pick up the storm, but it's not as effective at doing that. It's not really an effective method of actually picking up the storm in this scenario. until you get another storm behind it that tries to do the same thing. To go in a few minutes when it crashes. Yeah, that's unfortunate. It's unfortunate. I don't want that to happen, but it's happening today for some reason. But yeah, the main takeaway is just how long does that ridge stay there? And does that trough dig in deep enough and that cold front comes in fast enough to sweep it away before it gets far enough west? Like, after it passes through the islands over here, if it's far enough south. Once it gets in this area, does the cold front and the trough pick it up before it gets towards the islands, close enough to be felt by the rain and the wind? Or does the cold front and trough not cut through the ridge as much and aren't as pronounced? And the storm doesn't, even though the storm moves farther north because it feels the weakness, is not moving too quickly as it's doing so. I think that's the major question. The good thing is that because this ridge is here, that allows this trough to be in the eastern United States. The only issue is how strong is the trough going to be, and how efficiently is it going to be able to pick up whatever storm is down here. So we'll still have to watch this. I'll provide like another update tomorrow, not in like live stream form, but in video form, and provide another update in that format. And I'll try and make that around like in the morning sometime when it's going to be easier, because I won't be doing too much in the morning, so I can actually do it. So we'll keep an eye on this. It's not really useful to look at the hurricane models because we don't have a defined center yet, so we'll have to check that later. Okay, yeah. Now we're looking at the West Pacific, pivoting over to the West Pacific. I think I missed the landfall of Hawaii yesterday. I think I missed it. It made landfall in Taiwan, I think, yesterday. Salo, the remnants of Salo are decaying over southwestern China. Tropical Depression Kurogi is south of Japan. It's also decaying. And we have, in Typhoon Hawaii, still making its trek towards mainland China. So if we check the warning graphic, it's right here, at least from when they updated this graphic. 75 knots, so that's about an 85 mile per hour typhoon, if you do the conversions. As it moves toward the coast of southeast China, it does weaken down slowly to a mid-range tropical storm, to maybe a strong tropical storm, and then it moves over China north of where Hong Kong will be. Now I did remember, like on the Euro model, seeing like extremely heavy rainfall totals. So I think heavy rainfall is probably going to be the main. It's probably still is the main issue with Hawaii as it moves into China, mainly because of where it's going. Because a lot of southern China is mountainous, as it already is. Not 24 hours. I want total accumulated. There we go. Yeah. So as the storm moves into southern China, southeast China, it's still gonna drop a good, like, look in terms of milliliters, just like 100 plus, but it's more like 150 milliliters in most of the area, going up to in isolated areas of about 300, like 250, 300 in some areas. But the vast majority of where Haikoi, I'll call it Haikoi, but I don't think I'm saying it right, will be moving into southeastern China here. Most of the area will be getting 150 milliliters of rain around there in a lot of this area. So flooding will still be an issue. And that's on top of whatever has already fallen. Because I think on the satellite imagery, rain is already falling there. So that's in addition to whatever's been falling now. So additional 150 expected. Some other typhoons trying to get going as well. It shouldn't be too strong wind-wise at landfall, but the rain's going to be the major problem. So if you're living in like one of the cities in China, or you know someone who lives there in the area impacted. I don't know the exact province name. I need to study my Chinese provinces. Watch out for heavy rain. So